Welcome to another edition of Pants Optional. It's Pop Cult HQ's Zoom interview segment where we interview comic book creators who are doing things within the comic book industry and get the lowdown, but from the waist up. Today, I'm rejoined by a man you may know as the Chief Operating Officer at Away Blue World. Or you may know him as the creator of the Killing Jar original graphic novel. You may know him from episode 10 of Pants Optional. We're here to discuss his re-release of another graphic novel of his, the 27 run, which hits stores November 11th, and the planned sequel for that, kicking off 2021, the 27 run Crush. Please welcome back creator, writer, COO of Away Blue World, Justin Zimmerman. Justin, welcome back, man. How are you?
I am great. Thank you again for taking the time to talk to me about the books.
Definitely. I dove right into it and the 27 run and blown away. For those who may not know or unfamiliar, let me give you my little take on it. It's kind of it's a mech versus monster melee, which really resulted unexpectedly from mankind being, mankind. And it's a brilliant sci-fi tale. It incorporates the best elements of things like Godzilla, Pacific Rim, Robotech, about this man in a world unknown to him as he struggles to grasp this terrifying future that's seemingly devoid of human life and the terror that ensues. You obviously have a love for the sci-fi genre. It's evident in this book, this graphic novel. Were there any particular films, shows, books, or anything from your past growing up that really inspired you to create this story?
I'm a big fan of genre, but I'm also a big fan of creators who take the genre and use it for personal storytelling. And for me, growing up with Robotech was a big deal, and the fact that it took war, it had an interracial relationship when that was barely a blip on the multimedia landscape. The fact that it was about ultimately how characters felt about each other, the way that it took the idea of an enemy in war and then actually kind of spun that in a way that enriched the idea of how people use violence and conflict to solve problems. Cultural differences kind of came together, and then ultimately how art in a lot of ways could solve those issues. I mean, for what is purportedly a kid cartoon, that's pretty amazing. And so that's the kind of thing that I wanted to bring into the 27 run and really have fun with, demystifying a hero, playing around with what it means to be good, and even to kind of get into the very notion of redemption through crazy art, lots of color, and hopefully laugh out loud dialogue between characters that are oftentimes just completely out of their minds. So yeah, it was just a lot of fun to build from the ground up.
Yeah, and there is a lot of that. That this story is very layered. That yes, it's a sci-fi story, but at the same time, there's a very relational aspect in it, as well as it's multiplied in the 27 run Crush, which we'll get to later. You see this dynamic of this guy just learning what he's kind of woken up to and this advanced world, and the relationship he realizes that he has to bond with an artificial intelligence, and almost this forced upon implied duty that he has to help mankind with the monsters that have destroyed everything.
And to me, even that idea, that ultimately speaking, and as you get into the book, you realize that it's not actually the monsters that are what we're needing to deal with here. It's always exciting, I think, with a project when you have an outline and you have an idea of where things are going to go, but that you let the characters lead. And so for me, that was my personal challenge, was to make sure that, unlike other projects, I only would script like 10 pages at a time and just try to let the thing unfold, but also to really concentrate on sections that were all about just interpersonal dialogue, just people bouncing off of each other in real time, mixed with these more widescreen action beats that really Russ and Fran brought to glorious life. So in a way, something that's pretty genre specific was one of the most experimental things that I've ever written or created. And I was hoping that that kind of excitement would come out on every page.
And it really does in a number of instances. I do really like the witty banter and dialogue between your pilot and Sid, the artificial intelligence sidekick that he has. A lot of sharp humor in there. I really liked the photoshopping Tron helmets on Fraggles. That really got me. Yeah, and talking about your creative team, artist Russell Brown, he delivers such bold and striking visuals in this story. Really love his nod to the Sistine Chapel's The Creation of Adam by Michelangelo. I got that. It was kind of a comical take, but at the same time, there was something that really resonated with that. What of Russell's previous work stood out to you in bringing him onto illustration for this world that you've created?
Yeah, Russ and I have worked together on several projects. And so to go back a little bit, Tyler Chintainer at A Wave Blue World was coming up with a new line of creator-owned graphic novel work, and that was under the umbrella. It was called Undercurrent, which was really great. And I had chatted with Tyler about maybe us releasing the books in short spurts online for free. And so when we kind of hammered that idea out, which really worked well with my concept of, I just want to write this in chunks and see kind of where it flows. I sat down with Russ, and this would have been at Emerald City Comic Con in 2016, and said, where could we go? What could we do with this? And Russ is a huge kaiju fan and a big fan of obviously, like you said, big, bold, and expressive is that guy's bread and butter. And so it was out of that idea that he was going to be drawing the book for me that I kind of cultivated this whole idea. And I sent him a very specific proposal, which was almost spot on. I mean, just incredibly, weirdly enough, spot on to where it would go 100 and plus pages later. And he said, yes, I would love to bring this to life. And then it was really great to have it come out kind of weekly and quietly, and then to have that instant reaction from friends and fans. And a real tribute both to Tyler and Wendy at A Wave Blue World for letting us do that. Another book that actually comes out in October, The Phantom of the Opera, by Varga Tami, was another undercurrent piece. And so it's cool that they're both coming out so close to each other this year.
That's great. Yeah, it's such a great look to the story and the world. Just beautiful visuals, and also with Fran Gamboa joining on colors. Fran produces such intensity in this graphic novel, really capturing that devastation, the intensity of the battles, and just kind of this bleak future. They're just so beautiful and just vibrant. They just popped off the pages. What does Fran bring to this book that impresses you the most, that really nails it home for you?
Well, I think you nailed it. So my direction of Fran was, I don't want a bleak, I want the world to be bleak, but I don't want it to be devoid of light or color, if that makes sense. So Russ had drawn these expansive horizons and these incredible scenes of devastation. But I'm personally very tired of the skip bleach or like monotone post-apocalyptic world that we see in most of the genre. And I just really tasked Fran with bringing every page to life. It was also kind of a neat, it was a neat result of doing the pages kind of in smaller chunks, because then we could concentrate on every page or a scene rather than like shipping them 24 pages and saying this is due by the end of next month. We were really
Right.
able to give every aspect of the book the time that it deserved. And that extended to Thomas Maurer, who did, I think, a remarkable job on the lettering and making sure that every character and every moment really had its own identity, without sound effects, because I don't put sound effects in my comics. I want the art to speak for itself. But man, Thomas did a phenomenal job on bringing all those voices their own unique kind of look and feel, and then melding those all together.
It's funny that you said that about the first thing you said about Thomas Maurer was remarkable, because my next question starts off, it's remarkable how much is jam-packed in this issue, especially with the dialogue, the describing of the environment, the backstory, like we were talking about the artificial intelligence sidekick Sid, providing that backstory with a healthy dose of humor. There was a lot packed in there, and Thomas really had his work cut out for him, but he really crushed it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, you have to be careful, especially if you're shooting an audience into the middle of something, and that's what you ultimately want to do, not spending a ton of time on exposition. So to me, that was really the balance of the book. Those kind of intensive, widescreen, more modern takes on action, and then those fun back and forth pieces. And again, building the book kind of slowly, chunk by chunk, I was able to decide, okay, this scene would work best here, this scene would work best in this sense, and then really just kind of move, hopefully effortlessly, back and forth between those things and make it always fun. I loved those characters, because most of the time they would show me the way rather than me trying to decide something had to be forced in one section or another section. And that goes, I don't want to give too much away, but that extends all the way towards the end of the book, the last like major twist, which I was thinking was going to be in a future story, but actually just wound up perfectly there and made the book that much better. The characters got me there. It wasn't plotting, or it wasn't working backwards. Everybody just kind of moved the book forward, and as a writer, those are the best moments, where you're just almost like transcribing what's happening. And it was a challenge. That book was a massive challenge, but it was a lot of fun to bring ultimately to life.
And like you mentioned, it wrapped up on such a great note. It gave a little twist there at the end, and it really got me excited to jump right into the 27 run Crush advanced copy that you got me. On this graphic novel, comes out November 11th, features cover art by Clayton Crane, it's breathtaking. It's his signature, just visually stunning pieces, like he's been known to do. Fantastic look for the series, as well as it's filled with a bunch of process work. At the end, I really appreciated that, getting to see a lot of that is addition. It's a lot more to the graphic novel than just 4 issues where we're packed together. That you are getting extra. You're seeing more of what went into delivering this. So just fantastic package all around.
Well, I think that's one of the greatest things about working with Away Blue World, and now actually working for Away Blue World. But at that time, one of the things that drew me to Tyler and Wendy and their company was their commitment to every single one of their books. And I think that it's absolutely continues to this day. The book itself, books are incredibly important to me just as a person. And so I want to make sure that if someone is going to spend their money on picking up something that has my name on it, that is going to be as expansive and exciting as possible. And to show some of Russ's work come to life, and then to show how Fran's colors kind of add to that experience, and then to make sure that everybody had access to all of the cool behind the scenes stuff that we were putting out digitally as we went. All of those things were essential to me. And Away Blue World was kind enough to package that into a pretty beautiful hardcover version.
That's great. That's great. And it makes for a great segue, a lead in to the next graphic novel soon to be coming out. And you're going to be doing individually issues, right? For the 27 run Crush?
So Away Blue World has a program. It's called the Premier #1 program, and I love it. If a series is chapter based and not just a one and done graphic novel, Away Blue World will pick out the first issue and we'll release that to the direct market through previews. And it has an exclusive cover and it has exclusive back matter. So it's collectible, it's a first edition, and they are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And so we have several of those coming out in early 2021, and 27 Run Crush begins that in January. So at the end of October, before the 27 Run hits the stands again, we'll have the 27 Run Crush Premier #1 offered in Previews catalog. And it's just going to be a wonderful crossover, I think. To think that I started that book over 4 years ago, and now it's coming out, and then people can jump on that and then jump immediately to the sequel, which I am inordinately proud of, is exciting. I mean, this has been a crazy and terrible year, I think, for just about everybody. But you take those little moments of light where you can get them, and for me, this is one of them, that people can see all the hard work that all these creators have put into this series and pick these up in pretty short time frame.
Definitely.
I am so proud of all the work that my collaborators put into both of those pieces.
You really should. Like I said, it's beautiful from top to bottom. The 27 Run Crush is no less beautiful. It's creative teams back again, but this time you're also joined by artist Ethan Clunch. How has bringing Ethan on to the series added to the world of the 27 Run?
Yeah, I am incredibly, incredibly lucky to be working with Ethan. I met him when I was directing a film in Washington, and he storyboarded the entire project for me. From there, I was amazed to find out that he had never worked on a comic book before. So he illustrated my story for the anthology All We Ever Wanted. That was a remarkable collaborative process. And so when it came to 27 Run Crush, I wanted to start off, extend what happened in the first book with Russ. And then there was a very specific time where I knew that we wanted to go in a new direction. And the story absolutely was written around that idea. It should be almost unnoticeable in terms of structurally for a reader, but it was a lot of fun to kind of work backwards from that transition. So Russ could, in a real way, hand off to Ethan. Russ went on to work on an original graphic novel for an incredible science fiction and fantasy writer named Daniel Krug. And so we all knew this was going to kind of happen. And I had to, as many independent creators do, figure out how this was all going to kind of come together. So hopefully that wasn't too long of an explanation to set the stage. But Ethan came in and he killed every page. Ethan brought something so incredible to the expanding universe of characters, because in Crush we have a new protagonist, we have a new sidekick, we build the world out quite a bit. And the way that he illustrated the character interactions, facial expressions, body language, and still hit those big beats, but also made so much, brought a grace to things in his own way. Just, I think, really elevated the storytelling in the book itself. So I was fortunate to work with both Russ and Ethan on this project, and of course stuck with Fran and Tom to keep that consistency for the book itself. When you get to these points, sometimes you're just amazed that it all worked. And one of the many reasons why I'm so proud of the book is because it was, as much as the first book, it was an experiment. And I think it's arguably the best thing I've ever done in comics. So I cannot wait for people to see it and tell me that I'm wrong.
Well, you're not going to hear from me. I loved it. Um, it's what's nice about it in this follow-up, the 27 run Crush. Uh, it shows that the world's not so alone after all. For from that we heard from the original story that we thought, and this volume is really that story of another mech in another part of the world and what they're experiencing. And what's nice is there is still is that little bit of dynamic where you're seeing the great stuff that that Ethan's bringing, but there's still some tie-in back to the original 27 run, especially in chapter 3, issue 3, and so you get to see this nice melding of what's going on and staying updated. That it's still that these stories are connected, and that there's something bigger at play here.
I wanted every book, and I hope I get to do the third book in the trilogy. We'll all keep our fingers crossed. But I wanted every book to expand in scale. And so if the first book's basic subtext was don't give up, the second book's basic subtext is you're not alone. You're not as alone as you think you are. And those seem to be ideas that are resonating pretty hard, especially during this time. And I've been glad to hear from people, both before and now during this COVID crisis, that these books are particularly helpful, as simple and as genre specific as they are, that the struggles that the characters are going through are really resonating with readers and are providing some help. And I think that's the exciting thing about this kind of storytelling, and really hopefully letting characters lead the way in the stories, that people can make them their own. And those are the kind of things you hope for when you're writing anything.
And it does come out. There were moments where I realized that our protagonist in the story is really experiencing a moment of self-reflection, and it resonated, and you could actually kind of look at your own life or people and realize at times humans, not any specific race or anything, but humans in general can be ugly people if we really look at it. And just these stories really give you that, what am I really doing to make things better for me, for my society, for my environment, my community? Are we doing things right really in life? And I think that really comes out in both volumes, in the 27 run as well as your follow-up next year. I'm really excited for it to come out. People really need to definitely check this out. Hey, for a final pitch, what would you say to a science fiction fan, anyone looking for a quality original graphic novel, or maybe someone new to Away Blue World titles, to pull them in and let them know that the 27 run is the graphic novel to pick up this November, and to be on the watch for the 27 Rush follow-up in January?
I mean, I guess first I'd say that the people who made both those books, and that these are every single one of my collaborators, poured blood, sweat, and tears into every page. And these are people who worked on this book and made it as good as they could because they were excited about working together. That's pretty neat in this day and age. And so it's something that people really fought hard to bring to life. But we've done all the hard work for you. All you have to do is go to Previews World and you can look up the books, and you'll see preview pages, you'll see book trailers. We wanted to show everybody how exciting the books ultimately are, and we just hope people will come along with us on the ride. But ultimately speaking, we made those books for an audience who loves the stuff that we love. We wanted to challenge them. We wanted to surprise them. We wanted to make them smile, and we wanted to make them think. But mostly, we just wanted to entertain them, because in this day and age, we'll take all of the entertainment we can get, and that's ultimately the best thing that I could give.
And you give it, and you give it in spades. Pop Cult HQ stamp of approval at the 27 run. Like I said, it's jam packed, and there's action, there's comedy, there's moments of making you think about mortality, making you think about changing things for the better for yourself and for others, and really entertaining all throughout. Creative team that really came together and made something really special. So when we last spoke in episode 10 of Pants Optional, you mentioned that you have great relations with the comic book stores in and around the Portland area, and you were going to sign some copies, have them there. Are you doing any kind of planned promotion in and around the Portland area again? Any certain comic book retailers we need to give a plug that you might want to get out some special copies of the 27 run?
I am such a huge fan of Portland's comic book community and the stores in Portland, every single one of them. I mean, it's the independent comic book, and maybe not so independent comic book capital of the country, and it's a delight to be here. So I think every comic book store knows that if they order anything with my name on it and they reach out, I will be there to sign or pre-sign or whatnot. But as usual, I will be going in early to Excalibur Comics, which is the oldest comic book store in Portland and one of the oldest comic book stores in the country, and pre-signing the 27 run the Wednesday before the store opens. We want to make sure that we are safe, and we want to make sure that all of our friends and fans are safe as well. But they will be there, they will be signed, and it's just extraordinary to be able to put your name on a book, especially something that's this personal and this cool. So I'm glad that's still happening in this day and age.
So definitely go out, get the 27 run original graphic novel, coming to comic book shops November 11th, and be on the lookout for the 27 run Crush, the follow-up that you're not going to want to miss, that really expands upon this universe, coming next year, early January 2021 from the Way Blue World. Justin, thanks for coming, man. I appreciate having you on again, and love what you guys are doing.
Well, I can't thank you enough for all the kind words, and it's good to see you again. I look forward to chatting with you more soon. We're not going anywhere.
All right. Hey, I'm not going anywhere either. I think we're all in this together, man. So, all right. Thanks, Justin. Have a great rest of your week.
Take care, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.